Aloha guitar class. This is lesson 2. This is going to be about how to read tablature, which is incredibly useful. Uh, it's not quite as hard as learning to read the notes, which we'll be doing in some later lessons. So first thing is you want to get out your instrument, sit in a chair, hold it properly like we learned in the last video. Make sure it's in tune, that you've tuned it properly. And then also another thing that's really important is make sure that you cut your fingernails. Okay, so your nails should look kind of like this, where it's very shortly trimmed. And that's for whatever hand you're going to be using to press down on the fingerboard. So I'm terribly sorry if you have long manicured nails, but those have got to go because they will get in your way when you're trying to play your chords and your melodies and scales, and it's going to make it very difficult for you to learn how to play the guitar properly. Okay? So make sure you do that. If I see, like in the video assignments, that if you have long nails, I'll tell you to cut them. And then at a certain point, I'll start deducting points if I keep seeing the nails like being too long. So that's one thing about music classes and playing instruments is you have to do that. You have to cut your fingernails in order to learn how to do it properly. All right, so anyway, just remember what you learned from the previous video about how to hold the guitar properly, putting your arm up here, relaxing your shoulder, okay, and then holding it down here. So the documents you'll want to get out for the lesson are the following: how to read guitar tab, warm up, scales, open position, O Clair de la Lune, drink to me only with thine eyes, and you can find those in your Google Classroom study materials for this week. How to read guitar tab was in the study materials for last week. So let's take a look at how to read guitar tab. Okay, and last week we learned about the strings and the names of the strings. Okay, and also let's use a pick for today. I like to start by teaching students how to use the pick. It's a little bit easier, and then later we'll learn how to use our fingers later. That's a bit more complicated. So with the pick, the only thing you need to know is just hold it between your thumb and your first finger, and do not put your middle finger on the pick. So you grab it like that, and then you just kind of let these fingers relax and hang out and separate from where you're holding the pick. Okay, and then the strings, if you recall, are like this: Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. That's low E, A, D, G, B, and high E. Okay, and on the paper, this is our tab staff, the one that says tab. Okay, that's short for this word tablature, which is what we call this kind of notation. All right, so those are the strings, and then you see these metal things on the guitar. These are called frets. This is fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, and so on. Okay, and the actual fret is what's behind the metal thing. So this is fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, fret 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. Okay, and this is how we find notes on the fingerboard. So if you remember back to like math class, or you might be taking a math class right now, and you think about the graph paper and the x-axis and the y-axis and the x-axis. You know, we have that, you can think of this fingerboard as a graph paper too, with specific locations and points along it. Okay, the strings being one axis and the frets being the other axis. Okay, so on the paper, the bottom line here represents the low E string, and then the next line up represents the A string, and then the next line up represents the D string, the next line up represents the G string, the next line up represents the B string, and the next line up represents the high E string. Okay, which you can sort of think of as being upside down, because the strings here go from top to bottom and this goes from bottom to top. Okay, but basically when we look at notation on the paper, the lower you go on the paper, the lower the pitch. So, and this is our low string. And the higher you go on the paper, the higher the pitch. And this is our high side, so low and high. Okay, so try not to think about bottom and top and up and down. Okay, instead think about low, and then as we go this way we get higher and higher. Okay, and as we go from this part of the fingerboard up the neck, the pitch also gets higher and higher. Higher and higher. Okay, and that helps to kind of get used to the orientation of this, is to not think about bottom and top and up and down, and but rather to think of low and high in terms of pitch. Okay, so again, low E, A, D, G, B, and the high E. Okay, this is how the tab is normally displayed, with the treble clef on the top and the tab on the bottom. So these are the notes that you're playing when you play, and the tab sort of translates this into a location, showing you where the note is on your guitar. Okay, you don't need to worry about the music notation just yet. We'll be studying that later on in the semester. So what we need to focus on are the notes. Okay, so this is a 3, and that's on the line for the A string. So what we do is we find the A string, and then we count 1, 2, 3 frets. Okay, and then there's one more piece of information here. If you look up at the note, there's a little number next to the note, and that number tells you which finger to use. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 fingers. All right, we count the fingers this way. This is the first finger, the second finger, the third finger, and the fourth finger. So it's telling us here, A string, 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3, and using the 3rd finger. Okay, and that's the first note. Let's play that. Ready? And okay, and then you just have to make sure that you hit the same string that you have your finger on. Okay, next one is a 0, and that's on the line for the D string. So we go to the D string. 0 just means to play the string open. That's it. And then D string, 2nd fret. So D string and 1, 2, 2nd fret. Okay, and then if you look up here, it tells you to use your middle finger, your 2nd finger. Okay, all right, and that's as far as we'll go on this one. We'll take a look at an exercise now. Okay, but before we do, let's talk about pressing down on the note in the right way. Okay, so first thing is you want to arch your finger, arching the finger like this, okay, and pressing down with the tip of your finger like this. then when you press that, you want to press down either right in the middle of the fret or over towards this side of the fret. Okay, you want to make sure that you're not drifting too far back in this direction, because then your note is usually going to make like a buzzy sound. Okay, so when we reach over here to this fret, we want to make sure that we don't play the note here, that we get over more into the middle or towards the front side of the fret. Okay, and that's why it's so important to cut your fingernails, because if you don't, you won't be able to arch your finger and press down with the tip of your finger the way that you need to, like so. Okay, and then also make sure you got your thumb up here. All right, if your thumb starts drifting down here, funny things happen that aren't that great, so you want to get it up here. You don't have to hook it over. Okay, it shouldn't be pointing in this direction, but just right here, your wrist is kind of straight, maybe bent a little bit. You don't want to bend it all the way this way like this. Okay, and you want to grip the neck closely here on this side of your hand. So you kind of butt this all the way up onto the neck, and that's kind of the grip, like that. And then on this side of the hand, you want to make sure that there's always a space between the neck and your hand. Okay, you don't want to close this all the way. All right, so it's kind of like this. You put this up very close to the neck, put your thumb up here, and then leave a space. Okay, this space can be very small, okay, but just never all the way like this. Okay, and that kind of allows me to reach whatever notes I need to reach on these first 3 or 4 frets. You know, and if you wonder why, like, you don't do this, well, do that and then try to play a note with your ring finger on the 1st or 2nd string, and then you'll see why we don't do that, because it becomes like very difficult to do that. But if there's a space, then you can do that very easily on whatever string you need to play on. Okay, all right, let's take a look at the warm-up exercise. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in here just a little bit. All right, so again, we've got the same setup here with the treble clef on top and the tab down here. So low E string, 0, that's easy, just play the open string. Okay, 0 and then 1 on that string, and let's use the 1st finger. Okay, so we'll use a system for deciding which finger to use, and it's very simple. If it's a 1, use this finger. If it's a 2, use your middle finger. If it's a 3, use the ring finger, and if it's a 4, use the pinky. Okay, so 0 and then 1 on the low E, and then 2, and we're going to use the middle finger. Ready? And then 3, ring finger. Ready? And then 4 with the pinky. Ready? And then we go to the A string. 0, ready? 1, ready? And 2 with the middle finger. Ready? 3, ring finger. Ready? And okay, and remember, keep this close, keep your thumb up here, arch your finger, play with the fingertip, and get your finger in the middle or towards the front side of the fret. Okay, 4, we're going to use this little pinky finger. Okay, this is a really good exercise to get you using all 4 of these fingers on your left hand and learning to read the tab at the same time. Okay, D string, 0, ready? And 1, ready? 2, ready? 3, G string. 0, ready? 1, ready? 2, ready? 3, ready? 4, ready? 0, ready? 1, ready? 2, ready? 3, ready? 4, ready? High E string, ready? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now when you get to here, what you want to do is you want to reverse the pattern. So we're going to start here and go from right to left now. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Don't worry if this is too fast for you. Each one of these documents, well, most of them anyway, come with a example video that's also included in your study materials. Okay, the example video, it just has me playing the exercise, and you can go to that after the lesson and play along with that. You can slow down the playback speed. I'll include a tutorial about how to, slow down the playback speed on YouTube if you don't already know how to do that, and that helps a lot. Okay, because if it's too fast, you just won't be able to keep up, and then you're not getting much benefit. So it's good to be able to slow down the example videos. Okay, B string, 4, ready, and 3, 2, 1, 0. G string, 4 rather. 3, 2, 1, 0. D string, ready, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. A string, ready, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. E string, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, now if you want to do that again, just go to pause this video, go to the example video, and do it again. Slow down the playback speed and work on that until you can do it fairly smoothly and without taking too much time in between the notes. Okay, and one more thing, try not to cut your notes off too short, okay, when we're doing these things. So like, don't play notes like this. Okay, that happens when I do one of two things. I press the note and then let go. That'll stop the note. Or I play the note and then I put my pick back on the string. Okay, so you want your note to ring like this. What you don't want to do is like that. You want nice long ringing tones. Okay? Alright, so warm up. Good exercise. Now with the pick, all we need to be doing for now is just going down, down, down with the pick. Okay, we're not doing any up strokes with the pick just yet. Okay, down, 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 down. Get used to that first. Okay, next thing is scales. All right, and what we want to take a look at now is this C major scale. There's 4 scales on this sheet, And but for now we're just only going to be doing this one, and you want to play this one again and again and again as an exercise until you can do it without looking at the paper, okay? Because we want to remember these and get them ingrained. So the main things that we want to memorize in the short term are the scales and the chords. Okay, we don't want to have to keep looking back at the chart every time to figure those out. Okay, so we do the scales one by one, and we do the chords, and like, you know, we learn 3 or 4 chords and then practice those until we can remember them. And that's how this works as well. If you try to learn too many of them all at once, you won't remember any of them. Probably. I don't. Some people are really good at memorizing things, but most people aren't. You need a lot of repetition. And anyway, let's play the scales. So first note is A3. So we find the A string, and then count 1, 2, 3 frets. Use your ring finger. Okay, we're going to use the same system to decide which finger to use. So if it's a 1, it's your index finger. If it's a 2, it's your middle finger. If it's a 3, it's your ring finger. And if it's a 4, it's your pinky. Okay, and when we do the fingering that way, we call that the first position. All right, and that is also referred to as the open position because the open strings, the zeros, are also part of that position. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that's very important that you have a system for deciding which finger to use, because first of all, when we play these repetitively, we want to make sure that we're using the exact same fingers every single time. Okay, that activates what's called muscle memory, where you get to the point where you can play it without even thinking about it. And that's kind of necessary in order to have any speed at all. Okay? And you don't want to be using a fingering that's inefficient and causing you some awkwardness and problems. Okay? And if you follow this system, it will be the most accurate way and efficient way to play each thing that we're going to play. Okay? So A3, ready? And then D0, ready? D2, ready? D3, ready? G0, ready? G2, ready? B0, ready? B1, ready? B3, ready? E0, ready? And E1, ready? E3, ready? Okay, now for the 5, we're going to leave the first position and go up to another position. So put your first finger on 5. It tells you to do that up here. Okay, the little number next to the note tells you which finger to use. So 5, ready, and 7. And it tells you to use your ring finger here, ready, and 8. And it tells you up here to use your pinky finger, ready, and okay. Now, just like the warm-up, we're going to reverse the pattern, and we're going to go from right to left all the way down the scale. Okay, 8, ready? 7 with your ring finger, ready? 5 with your first finger, ready? 3 with your ring finger. Go back to the first position now. 3. 1 with your first finger, 0, ready, 3 with your ring finger on the B string this time, ready, and 1, B0. We like zeros, they're easy. It doesn't get any easier than 0. Okay, G2, ready, and G0. D3, ready, and D2, ready, and D0, and A3, ready, and okay. Don't worry if that was too fast for you. Go look at the example video and slow it way down and play along, okay? Or you can always pause the video and practice it and then resume the video and resume playing along with me, okay? Now, we talked about like tuning your guitar and holding it properly, and then so every time you practice, and I hope that you will do that once every single day, okay? Don't let too many days go by where you haven't practiced. Always check your tuning first, make sure you're in tune, hold it, get in a chair, not on the floor, not like on a soft couch or anything, but in like a chair, sit up, hold it properly. The next thing you want to do is the warm-up. Don't just do it once, do it a few times, as many times as you can, because we don't want to just read it, we want to get better at it and get to playing it faster and smoother, okay? And then play your C major scale. Okay? Up and down. Always go up and then reverse the pattern. Okay? You would think that doing it up would be enough, but the descending scale, as we say, to your brain, it's like a completely different thing for some reason. Okay, it's like, you know, everyone can say the alphabet forwards, but try saying it backwards, and you find out that you're not as good at doing it backwards as you are forwards. The exercises are the same way. You have to practice the ascending scale and the descending scale, or the ascending exercise and the descending exercise. You have to do both things, okay? And don't just do it once, do it several times. Try to memorize it. Put the paper away and close your eyes and see how many of the notes you can remember, okay? Then, after you're done with your warm-ups, which is the warm-up we did and the C major scale, then you can play some songs, okay? This week we're just playing single notes. Next week we'll learn some chords, okay? So the next thing to do, let's look at Au Clair de la Lune. All right. This is sort of like the French version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in a way, except instead of a star, it's about the moon, by the light of the moon. Okay, a simple song. You want to start out with kind of like children's songs at first. All right, and this works just the same way. We're gonna play each note one by one by one, and try to get the right string and the right fret using the right finger, which we've already talked about. We're going to do everything in first position for now, okay, which keeps things simple. All right, B1 is the first note. Actually, the next line is getting cut off. Let me anyway, you don't have to look at it on the screen. You can look at your own paper, okay? And one thing you want to do is you want to print all of these things out. You don't want to have to scroll around on the computer screen or be trying to watch your video and look at your documents on the same screen or on another screen. And also, the problem with looking at music on the screen is the scrolling. You have to scroll around, and that interrupts the flow of the music. And as the semester progresses and our charts get longer and longer, it's going to interfere more and more with that. So make sure you print everything and put it in a binder so you have quick, easy access to it, and you can flip the pages through. And that'll help keep you organized. It will prevent you from having to scroll around on the computer screen and interrupting the flow of your music, okay? And when you're recording your videos, if I see you like scrolling around on a screen, that's one of the things I'll say is, hey, don't do that. Print them out so that you don't have to do that, so that you can see the whole chart, you can see multiple pages, and you can just play your music without being interrupted, okay? So definitely print these out if you haven't already. Okay, B1, and we're going to do that 3 times. Ready? And 1, 1, 1. And then B3. Ready? And then E0. Ready? B3. Ready? And B1. E0. B3, ready, and 2 times, and then B1. Okay, and then the next line you do the same thing again. These are exactly the same notes again. So one thing that we do have to know about are these rhythms, okay? So one of the things also that will be included in your study materials is a rhythm chart, and that's a reference you can use throughout the semester to look up these rhythm symbols, okay? The one that's most frequent here is the quarter note, which is a black note with a stem, okay? And those are 1 beat. So the tempo can be fast. This can be your beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or it can be very slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whether it's fast or slow, the quarter note is 1. So you play 1 for every click, okay? So if I'm counting like this, 1, 2, nice and slow, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I play 1 on each beat, okay? And then here, this note is called a half note. It's a white note with a stem. And those are 2 beats. So if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, I play these like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this one is a whole note. It looks like a half note, except it doesn't have a stem. And that lasts for 4 beats. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Each one of these sections is called a measure or a bar. So measure 1, measure 2, measure 3, measure 4, 5, 6, and so on. There's 16 of these bars in the song. Each one of those measures have 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll notice that you can fit 4 quarter notes in one of those measures. You can fit 2 half notes, because each one of those is 2 beats. And you can fit only 1 whole note, because each one of those lasts for 4 beats. So here's how you play this and count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, So check out the example video. That's where I play the entire song. It's nice and slow. You can slow it down. You can use a metronome if you want, which is one of those things that goes click, 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 and you can speed it up or slow it down. The other thing you can do is to play along with the example video, which is just as good as playing with a metronome. And some people think that that's a little bit more fun to do, to play along with a recording rather than with the metronome. Either way, it's good. But before you're ready to do that, you have to play this through several times to get familiar with the notes and the sequence of notes and figure out which finger to use and all of that. Okay? That's Au Clair de la Lune. Let's take a look at one more. Okay? So these are pretty easy. If you know how to read tabs, all you have to do at first is just to go note by note by note and play each one. Now on this song, we only have 3 beats in each measure. So some songs have 4 beats in each measure. That's the most common kind of time signature. And some songs have only 3 beats in each measure. That's the second most common time signature. All right. So we got B0, ready, and 3 times, 2, 3, B1, and this is a longer note, long. Okay, so even if you're not counting or having a metronome, you can approximate the timing pretty closely just by playing these white notes a bit longer than the other notes. You can think of those as sort of like pauses. So I'm going along quarter, 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 and then I get to this note. Long, quarter, and then B3, ready, and quarter, B1, B0, G2, B0, B1, B3, G0, B1, ready, B0, ready, G2, ready, and then G0, ready, and okay. Now this note is tied to the next note. That's called a tie. And then we see the number here in parentheses. That means that this is just one big long note. So you don't play this one, you just play this one and then hold the note. Okay, this is a half note with a dot on it, which is called a dotted half note, and those are 3 each. Okay, so quarter note has 1 beat, half note has 2, dotted half note has 3, and whole note has 4. Okay, we can't put a whole note in one of these measures because the whole note is 4 and each one of these measures only has 3 beats. Okay, so that would be too many. So the dotted half note is kind of the equivalent of the whole note in 3/4 time. Okay, so this is how you do this one. You play it and you count 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then the next thing comes, B0. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing right now. You have the example video where I do play the entire thing. You can play through it several times to get familiar with the notes and then try slowing down the recording and playing along. Okay, as soon as you're able to, you want to start trying to play with some timing. Okay, either with the metronome or with the recording. Either way. Okay. So, whenever you practice, and I hope that you'll do that every single day, start with the warm-up, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and do it the the ascending exercise and the descending exercise. Play your C major scale and the descending, going up and down the scale. Do that several times. Okay, that's your warm-up. And then play Au Clair de la Lune. And then Drink to Me. That should be good for this first week. In the next video, we'll learn how to play some chords like this. Alright, so have a good week. Try to keep practicing every single day and learn how to read tabs. And I hope you have fun and enjoy that. And I will see you in the next video. Mahalo.